Hello. Welcome once again to another edition of Quoth the Raven, Lewis Bright Raven. I'm your host, Lewis Bright Raven. And it's Mignola time this week with my guest, our co-host, Chris Hall.
Hello, everybody. How you doing?
Yeah.
Come on in, take a load off, grab something cold to drink.
Yeah. This week, we decided to start doing some documentary-type films, and there's quite a few of them that we're going to get into over the next few weeks. But we started with this one because we had just watched Hellboy the Crooked Man a couple weeks ago, and was like, "Yeah, I haven't seen this. We need to watch this." And Chris had watched part of it and not all of it. I hadn't watched it at all, so we got a lot to say. Or at least I do. I don't know if you do or not, but we'll find out. Let's start. Go ahead.
All right, this is Mike Mignola, Drawing Monsters, 2022, directed by Kevin Conrad Hanna and Jim DeMonaco. Produced by Kevin Conrad Hanna and Jim DeMonaco and Anna Roberts. Associate producers were Ariel Basca, Alexandre Dussoy, Henry Gilroy, William Marilich, Alexander Preston, and Eric Chinecki. Executive producers were Hans Rodionov, Brian Volk-Weiss, Francesco Capusella, Max Henskin, and Adam F. Goldberg. This was starring Mike Mignola, Scott Mignola, and Todd Mignola, Christine Beatty Mignola, Katie Mignola, Mike Carlin, Art Adams, Ben Saunders, Steve Purcell, Chris Robertson, Stephen Green.
Take a breath.
Duncan Federigo, Guillermo del Toro, Henry Gilroy, Patton Oswalt, Tad Stones, Ron Perlman, Mike Richardson, Neil Gaiman, Michael Avon Oming, Rebecca Sugar, Jason Sean Alexander, Jorge R. Gutierrez, Adam Savage, Katie O'Brien, Victor Laval, Chris Piernowski, Doug Jones, Christopher Golden, Tom Snegowski, Dave Stewart, Fabio Moon, Lila Del Duca, Gary Diocampo, and Tara McPherson. Damn, a lot of people had stuff to say about Mike and his impact on their lives, eh? Oh, sorry, that was your line, wasn't it?
Yes, go ahead, say it. It's the truth, isn't it?
Production company was the Nacelle Company, Ink on Paper Studios, Frog Children's Studios, Sophos.
Yeah,
release date. Oh, go ahead.
The logo was unreadable, so I think it's Sophos, but it could have been Solos. Yeah.
Okay. Release date was June 27th, 2022, Chattanooga Film Festival, September 26th, 2022 on Blu-ray, September 17th, 2024 on the internet, with a running time of 1 hour and 37 minutes. Box office unknown, budget unknown, but it was crowdfunded. So, what it's about. The documentary delves into the life of Mike Mignola, exploring his early years, artistic influences, and the steps that led to the creation of his most famous work, Hellboy. It features interviews with various figures in the comic book and entertainment industry, including artists, writers, and filmmakers who have been influenced by Mignola's work. Notably, the film includes insights from Guillermo del Toro, Patton Oswalt, and Rebecca Sugar, discussing Mignola's impact on their work and the broader entertainment industry. The documentary examines Mignola's unique art style, his influences, and the development of his career from a comic book artist to a creator of a vast supernatural storytelling empire. It also tells the tale of his family, his father, his two brothers, his wife, and how they not only helped shape him as a person and creator, but how they allowed him the freedom to become who he is, and how that passed on to his daughter, and how she would later become a storyteller in the Hellboy universe in her own right. This was just a wonderful documentary. I love documentaries, but this one was really good. Mostly because it was a creator that I really enjoy. Full of insight, showing how Mignola struggled to find himself for years as an artist, even as a working freelancer, and how the only way to really achieve success is to do what you love. The point is stated over and over and over throughout the movie by Mike Mignola himself, and it resonates in the parties who appear in the film as they all seem to go through the same process. You also get to see what happens when you have a family and spouse who are completely supportive of you and know you and push you in the direction you need to be going. Without the support of his wife Christine, there's no way Mike would have ever been able to do it. Loved the whole thing, one of the best comic documentaries, if not the best, I've ever seen.
Yeah, I agree. It is a very exceptional film. I found the film interesting in that there was much information about Mike's history that I'd already known, but it expanded on those facts and how he lived in the same apartment complex with Art Adams and Steve Purcell. I knew that, but I didn't know the years and the whole context of that. I didn't realize that he had gone to New York and lived in New York for a period of time before then. I thought he was always on the California coast with Art and Steve. And when you have that kind of connection, you're all going to be successful. But no, he had to go through some very tough times in New York before he actually got to that point in his career where he had that support system of those two gentlemen.
Right. Oh, well, and then he talked. Then he talked about moving back to L.A. And the fact that if you're not basically in Marvel's doorstep asking them, "Do you have work?" They kind of forget you exist.
Yeah, in that period of time, that's how it was. I was always familiar with the point that Mike kind of struggled doing superhero comics and wanted to do horror and monster stories. I wish they'd done a little bit more about the struggles with the superheroes and how he was actually perceived. Because they kind of just said, well, he started out as an inker. He wasn't a good inker. Well, try some penciling, do this, do that, type of thing. Because they could see the talent in him. They didn't know how to draw it out of him.
Right.
Type thing was going on. And unless he was doing like a Batman story with monsters or a Wolverine story with a bunch of dinosaurs or monsters, or something.
Mm-hmm. Right.
He really was struggling. I wish they kind of delved into that a little bit more. Like his run on Alpha Flight or his run on the Hulk a little bit more. And how that built to his relationship with Byrne, because that ties into Byrne working on Hellboy early on. And I wish they delved a little bit more into how many years Dark Horse actually pursued Mike to do Hellboy, because it was multiple years that they were trying to get him before he finally committed. And I do wish that John Byrne had done a cameo to talk about writing the first miniseries, because Byrne has said it many times in numerous interviews that it really was Mike's story. He just dialogued it from quote unquote copious notation from Mike. So I would have liked him to have said it again on film and drive home the point that everybody had faith in Mike doing this except for Mike himself, because at that time he was just so chronically shy and lacked the self-confidence. I can remember meeting. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so basically Byrne pulled a Stan Lee and just put pretty dialogue over Mike's story.
No, he cleaned up a little Mike's dialogue, a lot of it, actually. Like I said, from copious notes of Mike there.
Right.
But no, and he said, "Just yeah, if you're going to give me the writer credit, I'll take it." That was kind of the way he looked at it. Yeah, once Mike realized, oh, I can do this after that first series, he pretty much took over after that first miniseries because he realized he could do it.
Right.
And I think, Byrne kind of beat that into a little bit too, but who knows? But I can remember when when Hellboy was first being announced, about 3 months before it came out, they were at Mid-Ohio Con, and John and Mike were both there, and they were promoting the Legend lineup that was coming out in early '94. And I can remember Mike just being really, really quiet and shy on stage during the press. And, John's a gregarious guy, and he knows how to take the stage and command things. But it would be like, okay, Mike, it's your turn.
Talk to him, Mike.
Come on, Mike, you got to talk about your thing now. And it was kind of funny, but you could tell how uncomfortable he was. And of course, he's grown and become more and more comfortable in his own skin over the years. And at the same time, you can still see the privacy in him in the film.
Right.
And I liked that they showed that there was a lot of, even though they talked about his parents and how his father didn't really acknowledge him per se because of that whole generation of how fathers don't really tell their sons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I didn't know his mother had died when he was young from cancer and wasn't in the picture. So that changed a lot about the themes and theology of Hellboy, because Hellboy doesn't know his mother and everything. And it's like, oh, wow. And of course he did say Hellboy is himself, more or less, but it's just that kind of a thing of, it gave an extra oomph to that, I think.
Right.
Okay. Again, the film drives home the whole do what you love point. I always thought that Mike still likes superhero, but the more I think about it, no, he really doesn't. He's who he is, and he's the monsters and mythology guy. Not that he doesn't love certain kinds of Marvel comics, and I bet he could do some truly amazing comics featuring the comic monsters of the Atlas Marvel from the 1950s, early 60s era.
Right.
He would do a hell of a Bloodstone series.
Oh, yeah.
So I was surprised about the claims of a lack of sales for the title. I do remember the Hellboy, when it first came out, the sales were low, but not as low as what was stated in the film. In the film, they said something like 6,000 to 8,000 was all the first print run was. And that's not how I remembered it, because that didn't even make it enough to be in the top 300 comics sold in that period.
Right.
And I'm like, to my recollection, it came out in February of 94 and sold in the 30,000 range, not the 6K that was claimed. Now, unfortunately, I did do some research, or tried to do some research, and nobody has the sales numbers where I can find them for that period. I don't know what, because that's when the market imploded.
Right.
And so a lot of the numbers aren't there. So I'm not saying that was a false representation or anything, because I really don't know. But I could have sworn it was 30K. And even then, if it was 30K, that was not great numbers for the time period.
No.
Far from it. Keep in mind that complete nobodies were doing crappy ass image knockoff books for Rob and Jim and others that were selling double to triple that.
Mm-hmm.
And here's Mike doing his thing, and he's a 12, 15-year veteran getting, whether it's 6 or 30, it doesn't matter,
Right.
And keep in mind that Byrne, while selling better than Hellboy, was barely hitting 55K on Danger Unlimited, and Monkey Man and O'Brien was only selling in the 50,000 range. And they were being outsold by that image crap, too.
Yep.
Now, might not be nearly as popular as Byrne and Adams. He was kind of viewed as an oddity in the Legend group by fans. And I always was angry at that, because I felt Mike belonged there. And I know the guys felt he belonged. He wouldn't be there he would not have been with them if he didn't belong. Just because of the egos that Miller and Byrne have. They wouldn't have invited him if they didn't believe in him.
Right.
And when you look at that imprint, Mike's the guy who outlasted everybody. And
he did.
Not just Legend, but most of the Image guys. When you look at Image, outside the partner members, he outlasted all of them, too. And look at even against the partner members. How many Hellboy movies have there been compared to Spawn, Youngblood, Savage Dragon, Wildcats, Summer Force, Witchblade, Shadowhawk? They ain't been shit from those properties.
No.
So, yeah, great message, great film. I would love to know why the hell it only has a 7.6 out of 10 on IMDb, though. It should be like a 9. You know,
Yeah, there's no accounting for taste.
this film has won 18 awards for the best documentary from 18 different film festivals. I mean, it's like, what? 7.6. What?
Well, did you grade it on IMDb and try and bump that sucker up?
Uh, I'm not allowed to, I don't think, unless you're signing something. But I don't know. It doesn't matter. But I guess I guess there's always going to be haters, though, right?
Yes, there is.
We both give this film a 5-star, right?
High 5 out of 5. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, how could we not? I mean, it was just a really great film, and I kind of, like I said, there's a few things I wish they'd done a little bit more, but what they gave you was perfect too. There's
Right.
nothing to complain about in that film.
No, just some things, like you said, I wish there was a little more meat on the bone. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But so that was that one. But then what else did we watch? Hellboy animated, The Dark Below from 2010, directed by Jan Carley, written by Tad Stones, based on stuff from Mike Mignola, starring Zebulon Pike. That's a hell of a name.
Yes, it is.
And Eric Murray. Production company is Film Roman Productions, Revolution Studios, and Stars Digital Media from Toronto. Released in 2010. I couldn't find the exact release date, so that's all I could give you. It has a running time of approximately 6 minutes. What it's about. The story follows Hellboy as he falls into an ancient underground ruin and descends through a mysterious doorway into a subterranean cavern containing a lake that houses a dormant octopus monster, more or less.
So yeah, I mean, I did enjoy this. The animation is a little wonky in some places. It's because this is 3D animation, but the textures on it are meant to mimic a 2D animation, or at least for Hellboy.
Mm-hmm.
And so that gets a little wonky in places.
Yep.
But for a 6-minute short, it's a good story. I really enjoyed the story. The actor who plays Hellboy, who wouldn't want to be stuck with that name, is Zebulon Pike. Sounds like he came from an alien conclave. Did a respectable job. It's not Ron Perlman, but who is?
Yeah, I really, really don't like the animation on this one, especially compared to the other Hellboy animated work that exists. Now, the story, what there was of it, was cute, but a bit illogical. He should have got his hand blown off by the grenade, if not got blown to bits entirely, as the critter had him tied up with the grenade stuck in his hand. I think Tad Stone's written better Hellboy stuff in the past. It just felt like this is a practice reel to see if they could pull off that type of animation, and it flopped because they never did anything else like this again.
Right. So I know Hellboy has somewhat a little like invulnerability. So would the grenade have blown his hand off?
I think so. I mean,
and he regenerates too. So
yeah, but I mean, when you think about how big the creature is, and he already hit him with one bomb or one grenade, and it knocked the crap out of it enough to knock it off the thing, and he's a lot smaller than that physically. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just wasn't feeling that one.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Anyway, you gave it a 3.5. I gave it a 2.5. So
yeah, I thought this was for the length. I thought it was above average, except for like I said, the little bit of wonky animation. Like I told you, this would have gotten a better score if it was longer.
Yeah,
probably.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, there's, like I said, it just felt like the digital animation just doesn't quite work. They
right.
need to go do what they did with the other animation and either do it really stick to Mignola's style, really stick to it like they did with the Iron Shoes, or they need to do what they did with Tad Stones with the other Hellboy animated films, Blood and Iron, and I don't remember
Sword of Storms.
Sword of Storms. Thank you. Yeah, and but I can understand why they were trying to go to the digital because that was a thing at the time, and
actually, if I remember correctly, that technique was still fairly new, and
yes.
it was kind of like the hot new thing, the 3D models with the 2D textures, making it look cell shaded.
Yeah,
so that was the hot thing at the time.
Yeah, and it just wasn't working for me, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, you don't see it a lot, or I don't think you see it at all anymore, so they must have realized that it really doesn't work. So
it works if you take it. They've gone beyond that a little bit, but to go to where they've gone with stuff like Star Wars Rebels and the Star Wars, the one with the racing team.
Yeah, pod racing.
Yeah, not the pod racing. I always forget the name of it. It was the one on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I probably didn't watch it.
Yes, you did, because we talked about it before. The one that where they're on the floating platform and the fighters race around in the rings.
I'm sorry, man. It's not ringing a bell. I apologize.
I know. I got to go over to Disney Plus and look it up.
I will say, though, as a side note,
yes.
David and I interviewed Brian Haberlin on our show.
Right.
And Brian has developed his own 2D shader for 3D models. That's what he uses for like his Faster Than Light comic. And a lot of his stuff. And I have to say that is absolutely the best 2D shader I have ever seen in my life. It was mind-blowingly good.
Okay. Star Wars Resistance.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, and just the fact that Brian developed that was completely proprietary, his own stuff. I mean, it's just kind of like, man's a genius.
Well, yeah, he is. That there's a lot of people in this industry who are very underrated and not talked about. That probably should be like punting the people that are running this industry into the ground out of the industry.
Very true. Very true.
But what can I tell you? So again, both of us gave the documentary 5 stars, and the animation was okay, but I just.
Yeah, basically, if you're ravenous to watch anything and everything Hellboy and just devour everything that is Hellboy, give this a watch. Yeah, give this a watch.
But other than that, it's okay if you miss it. But there's actually other Hellboy movies that I don't know where we can find them. They're not on Tubi. They're not. I don't know if they even really exist. But IMDb has talked about them.
Really?
Yes. There's let me find it again here. It's a team Hellboy Frozen.
I wonder if they're foreign.
Yeah, maybe, but it's from 2021. There was part 1. I don't know if this thing actually ever got made. Let me Stop sharing this one.
Oh, it was a TV miniseries. Okay.
Well, yeah, but they only made one episode, if they even made that. You know, I mean, that's all they got. There's nothing in there other than the writer was whatever the guy's name is, Amir Hossein Jafari. You know,
Right.
and I don't know. You know, there's no user reviews, there's no topics on it. It's just kind of a weird thing, you know, and I just kind of you know, here's the photos if they'll let us look at them.
Right.
Come on. They're not letting us. Oh, there we go. Did you remember seeing anything like this?
Yeah, I mean, it looks. I mean, the animation is exactly like. I can't remember which one it is, but one of his animated features. Yeah.
You know, so it's like it looks kind of weird, but I don't know.
That does, yeah. But that animated, that still of Hellboy, that looks just like.
Yeah.
Either Sword of Storms or one of those two.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think this is some sort of weird bootleg or something. But how did it get on IMDb then? You know,
Right. Well, you can put your own shit on IMDb. I mean, you can write up your own stuff and give yourself your own credits. And
oh, okay. I did not know that. All right.
yeah. Oh, yeah. You can totally put your own stuff on there.
Yeah. All right. Interesting. Okay. Well, I mean, to me,
Oh, yeah. If you go down, it would language Persian. So this probably only like ran one episode in Iran.
Yeah. But oh well. Yeah, it is whatever it is. Yeah. But it's cool. I also liked about the film when Mike was talking about having to give up the character to the Guillermo somewhat.
So yeah.
That was
his own spin on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not just that. It was the point of I think it's where you learned how to let other people play and let the characters breathe, let other people do stuff, because you can't do it all by yourself all the time.
Right.
And I think that led him to his relationship with Chris Roberson and with Christopher Golden and other writers that really helped him expand the Mignola-verse overall. So, yeah, I think that the movie helped him on that. And next week, and
looking
then
forward to watching that.
Continuing my review of the Quoth the Raven, Lewis Bright Raven exclusively on YouTube. You want to see more of my artwork? DeviantArt.com/BrightRaven. You want to see some of Chris's artwork as a colorist? DeviantArt.com/FatBoy73. Questions, comments, movies, comics you'd like us to review? Quoth the Raven LBR72@gmail.com is the place to reach out. And if I don't get back to you there, try lewisbrightraven@yahoo.com. And this week, what do you have for Throwing Stones?
We have tomorrow on YouTube, Glasshouse Presents Throwing Stones. We have Dave McCaig, colorist extraordinaire, one of the best in the business, great guy. I've known Dave since back in 2006, I believe, when he was still running Gutter Zombie. So that's when I first became acquainted with Dave, and so I'm really looking forward to talking with him.
And isn't he some sort of culinary expert?
He does some amazing stuff with food, man. He puts pictures out there, and I'm like, this looks like Gordon Ramsay would be like, bloody hell, man, why the fuck aren't you a chef? Why aren't you cooking for a living?
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, he's a big culinary guy. Animation, like he does a little bit of everything. So
yeah, we know too many talented people, and it just makes us look like schlubs, doesn't it?
Well, it doesn't take much to make me look like a schlub.
Yeah. You said it, I didn't.
Yeah. Chris Schlub Fat Boy.
Yeah. So anyway, that is our show for tonight, folks. We will see you on Chris's show again. Glass House presents Throwing Stones tomorrow at 1 p.m. And I'll be with you guys on Monday for Monday Manga. Until then, see you next time. Quoth the Raven. Nevermore.